So, Riot Games is finally broadening their horizons. They made a card game. They made a RPG that comes out this year. They made a shooter. And they've recently announced that they are doing an MMO. I'm guessing this MMO takes place in Runeterra, which is a great idea because you have Piltover and Water and the Shadow Isles, Shurima. I feel like all this could really work. And I just wanted to put my input in and talk about my hopes and my dreams and maybe some advice they could do if they listen to us. And I just thought it would be fun to talk about this MMO in the future. Will it be like Terra? Will it be Final Fantasy? Will it be Warcraft? Will it compete with Warcraft? Will it be subscription based? Will it just be a computer thing? Let's talk about it. Let's get one thing clear. This game is not coming out anytime soon. Like, it was released with a tweet saying, yeah, we're working on an MMO. And that was in December of 2020. Right now, it is March 2021. I wouldn't expect to see a trailer of this game until 2023. Like, I'm sure they're still in the process of hiring people. And that's why I think input from YouTubers now is a good thing. The hard part about starting an MMO is it's really, really expensive. The world building, the loot, the getting the math to work, getting the chemistry, weapons, characters, voice work. There's a lot of money that goes into an MMO, which Riot has the money. I promise you, Riot has the money. It's how much they're willing to put in, and if it's going to be a cash grab MMO, or if they're truly going to make an experience. Another problem is, how do you make your MMO stand out? I think with this MMO, it has a foot in the door because it already has the name recognition. And so people are already going to want to play it because they're attached to the characters, they're attached to the world. And so that helps them a lot. But if it's just another generic MMO, story, dungeon, story, dungeon, story, end credits, one raid, then it might have some problems. I don't think it should be subscription. I think it should be a retail price and then a cash shop. The only thing about a cash shop is the cash shop armor and swords cannot be cooler than the raid armor or the dungeon armor. It could be cooler than just your average day stuff, but it cannot be cooler than endgame stuff. That's not good. That's not good. Don't do that, Riot. And I know that's a double-edged sword because if you want to make money, the stuff has to be cool. If the stuff doesn't look cool, no one's going to buy it. But at the same time, the coolest stuff in the game should be the stuff that's the hardest to earn. So, I was thinking about this. The starting area, I don't think it should be tied to your class, but I think it should be, I think the background story that you pick should play a role in it. Like, are you a bandit from Surima, or are you a pirate from Bridgewater? I think it'd be cool if we could build an MMO that is truly your story, where kind of like Final Fantasy or WoW, because where you pick is where you start. But what if we did that and truly make an MMO that is your story? Like, you were a pirate, and so you end up in Bilgewater, or a bandit, and you start out in Surima. There is worlds of potential for character building in the RPG aspect. Something I feel a lot of people complain about is, especially in WoW, is you're just another warrior doing warrior things. Even in Final Fantasy, you don't feel that big of a deal. I mean, it's better than other MMOs, but maybe we could fix the stigma that where, you're the chosen one, but everyone around you in the starting place is also the chosen one. And so you have a bunch of chosen ones running around with the only sword of the gods on their back. I think we could find a way to make it more personal. This is your personal story. Not everyone is the chosen one. Not everyone is this. It's just one character's adventure, starting from nothing, building his way to become everything. We don't need to put like some world prophecy into it or anything. But we throw the character into a situation that's just circumstance. They're not the chosen one. They're not this. They were just at the wrong place at the wrong time. And I feel like that could work. And then your adventure takes you on. And it escalates and it escalates and it escalates when eventually you're at the finale. And that finale leaves a cliffhanger so you could go into the raids later. The world is begging to be explored, and I think we could do this by having it open world. And within these open worlds, like, you get to explore the wide deserts of Surima, and you come across a boss fight, and this boss fight actually, like a world boss fight in the middle of nowhere in Surima, like a big sandworm that just comes out, scares everyone, and then all the players around just attack this sandworm, and that sandworm drops something. I also think in this open world, you just kind of tease the endgame raids. Like, Bilgewater has some island in the middle of nowhere, and so you go on this island and it's nothing. And then later you find out it's a raid. I think that the world should be one large overworld. So you have Piltover, which is the main metropolis, the biggest city in the game. This is where you go to do your shopping. This is where you go to do your crafting. This is where you go to socialize with other players. This is like the big place for the players, the hub. And then connected to Piltover, you have Zon, which is like the lower class. Here we could have some side quests of like a mom and a child trying to get into Piltover, trying to get out of Zon. And then you go out of town, depending on which way you go. You could go up to the mountains and find the Freylord, where it's like snowy villages, and all that other stuff. And then you could go out and find yourself Shurima, which is just nothing but desert. Maybe a big world boss in this. A big pyramid that has no explanation, and then you find out it's a raid later. And then Bilgewater should have a mist over it, constantly raining, and then if you look out from the docks, you can see the Shadow Isles. The only place you cannot get to at this stage, because that will be another raid. That should be the raid that ends the first vanilla version. And the story takes you to all these places, all leading up to your attack on the Shadow Isles. I think crafting should work similar to the way it works in League of Legends, where you have 2 daggers that you buy for like $300, and those 2 daggers build into a sword that costs $600. And then your sword just keeps building until you have like a Blade of the Ruined King or a big ol' axe that I can't remember the name of. This would give the players a rewarding yet kind of fair grind. If you can control what you're putting your grind into, I think it would help the motivation. Like if you see that sword, you gotta build it up to it. So you gotta get the ingredients, the gold, and whatever else you need. And then if you put like a week or 2 weeks into it, you could have this legendary item. I also think legendary items should just be a drop, too. Like, as we talked about the world boss in Shurima that comes out of the sand, that should have a chance to drop like Sivir's boomerang. Actually, I think things that come from characters of League of Legends should be like raid drops or rare drops, which I do think you should run into characters from the game as NPCs or quest givers. Like I could see Miss Fortune being the quest giver for Bilgewater, things like that. I also think it needs a rewarding PvP system. They're Riot games. They can make a PvP game. I'm not too worried about that. But I do think PvP will be required for this. I also think a cross-platform would be required for it. Because we live in a world where mobile makes more money than anything else. And Riot loves their money. So this is probably coming to mobile. But I think it would be cool if it could also come to Xbox and PlayStation too. Just put it on everything with crossplay everywhere and let everyone who wants to play this game play it. At this point, there's no console, including phones at this point, that couldn't run an MMO. At the end of the day, what this game needs to be is true competition for the big guys and not just a one and done subscription. Now we're free to play to a servers are turning off because we don't have a big population. I think if anyone can do this, it's League of Legends. It's Riot Games. Because they already have the foot in the door. They've already have the popularity. They already have the world. It's asking to become an MMO. All they have to do is not trip at the finish line. And the finish line is so far away, I wouldn't worry about it. I just wanted to get my thoughts out there while the subject's still hot before everyone forgets about it. And I think everyone's going to forget about it here soon. but, you know. Thanks for listening. Go check out my older stuff if you want. But until then, Artifact.